Happy Draft Eve, everybody. And as you know, this is another very important draft for our Blackhawks. So we're going to be going over what we're going to be doing with the third overall pick. Notable third overall picks. Kirby Doc was our last third overall pick. That didn't really work out well. Another third overall pick. Some guy named Jonathan Taves. I don't know, maybe you've heard of him. So yeah, this is kind of a spot where it's really hit or miss. And we're hoping that Kyle Davidson can make the right decision and get a good piece for our future. So let's kind of take a look at what we're looking at as far as the third pick goes and who we could expect to land. So in the draft lottery, the Blackhawks fell from 2 to 3, unfortunately, with the Islanders jumping up to the first overall pick. The consensus is that they're going to take Matthew Schaefer, defensive prospect, who's really about as consensus as a number one pick as you can have without it being like 100% certain. So the Islanders, it's pretty safe to say they're going to take him. Now, there's a little bit of question after that. So as you can see, we've got this third overall pick. We've also got the 25th. So could we package deal that up if we really want a player? Yes, we could. I'm sure that the Sharks would take another pick, another first rounder, that is, to move up a spot in the draft. But I'm not sure exactly that's what we're looking at here. We've also got a couple second rounders, a third rounder for 10 total picks in this draft. Our main needs, we got to strengthen that forward core. We need any kind of centers, especially wings as well. We got to get Bedard some help. That's the main thing. Our defensive core is looking real nice, developing solidly. We've got Vlasic, who's looking real good. Also, Kaiser's looking solid. We've got Sam Rinzel, who looks like he might be a stud. We've also got Korchinski and Lev Shinov, which you also have to keep in mind. Nolan Allen's also looking really good. Our defensemen are gelling, and it's looking like we're going to have a pretty solid core there for years to come. Let's hope everything continues to work out. But our forward core, a little bit shaky. After Bedard, we've got Frank Nazar. We've got some guys who still have to prove themselves, like Oliver Moore. You saw Colton Dock, Kirby's brother, a little bit too this year. Not to mention like a few players that we drafted in previous years that have yet to make their debut as well. But other than that, forward core doesn't look as solid. There's been talk about Bedard not having a lot of help. So that's really what we should aim to be doing in this draft, especially with another top pick, taking a defenseman last year instead of a forward like Demidov. This year, you have to take a forward. Could be a center, a wing. Obviously, you can move them around regardless. But we're not looking at any defenseman that's never even been on the plate unless Schaefer somehow dropped to 3. So now let's take a look at some of our potential draft targets. I've started a couple that are important that I think it's most likely we're going to get one of these two. But let's just go through them all. We're starting with Michael Misa from OHL's Saginaw. 65 games played. He has 62 goals, 72 assists, and 134 points. Wow. How about that? Those are some elite numbers right there. Almost 2 points per game. Actually, more than 2 points per game. And yeah, I mean, this guy is, a lot of people are saying he's the second best prospect in this year's draft. Best forward prospect in this year's draft. And you would think, well, how do we have a chance of getting him at number 3? Well, we'll get to that later. Porter Martone is another one. He's from Brampton in the OHL. 57 games played, 98 total points, 37 goals. Another real solid forward. I mean, he'd be a good consolation prize as well if we were not to get Misa. Next prospect, Anton Frandell from Sweden. He's played in some tournaments, but in like the season in their league, he has 29 games played for 25 points. Solid player. A lot of people have compared him to Jonathan Taves, which is interesting. Third overall pick, right? Obviously, it's hard to get that high on a prospect and compare him to a future Hall of Famer unless you know he's going to be great, like a Bedard. But this is just someone that people see, like, he models his game after, and overall, like, just a really solid, like, he can play top line minutes for you, of course. Yeah, he's just got a really complete 200-foot game. You know, a lot of people are really high on him as being a top 5 pick in this year's draft. It's very possible. Then we have James Higgins, who was kind of up there at number 1 for a little while. He's now dropped to maybe like 5, 6, 7 spot. But he's at Boston College in the NCAA. 37 games played this year, and he's averaged a point per game, 37 points, including 11 goals. I mean, this is another good forward that you're going to get like a complete game from him. It's tough to tell with any of these guys except maybe Misa that I could say he'd play top line minutes for us, just because, I mean, there's so much unknown with all the prospects we have, and you really have to like just have them come up, let them play, and see where they fit in. So I can't say like with certainty, unlike Bedard, that he's gonna come into Chicago and play top line minutes. It's just not something that happens all the time. So now let's get into why Michael Misa could be a target for us. I mean, I think a lot of people think, many people, I would say most, think that Misa is the top forward prospect in this draft. The Sharks, there have been reports recently that they're pretty high on Frondell, which is interesting because they have the number 2 pick. Assuming Schaefer goes number 1, if the Sharks decide to take Frondell number 2, Misa slides to us at number 3. There's no way you can pass up on someone who's been 2 points per game in the OHL. Is it likely? I don't really think so. I think the Sharks were weighing the option of Frondell, but I think they're going to take Misa. Is it a possibility? Of course it is. And that's kind of what we're hoping for. Obviously, I want this guy. This is Bedard's help right here. Which leads me to my next point, and final point of this video, actually. Trade the pick? No thank you. No thanks. Kyle Davidson has said it before, and I will say it again for him. Commit to building a young core. That's what we've been doing for the last few years. And I think this is your chance to really get Bedard some real long-term help. I know, like, you could trade the pick and for, say, like, someone who's 27 years old, who's a proven NHL star, but the risk you run with that is giving up this pick for an 18-year-old who could develop to be just as good, possibly even better. In the long term, hanging on to that pick is going to help us. I think it's going to set more of a long-term standard for our team, and I think it's going to give Bedard more long-term help rather than maybe, say, a guy he can play with for like 5-6 years. And let's be real here, by the time a guy like Misa, Frondell, Martone, Higgins develops, it's going to be a couple years down the road. That's when we're really going to be ready to compete again for a Stanley Cup, not just a fight for a playoff spot. So you've got the opportunity to get one of these great players that could play top-line minutes. And that's hard to pass up. I don't think that you can trade this pick even for a proven NHL player. Because what you could be getting, I think the upside is higher. You could be getting more. You could be getting that all-star. There's a lot of unknown with the draft, and obviously sitting through a tough season where you finish second worst in the league, you get the 3rd overall pick. You want that excitement. You want to see that tanking pay off, and you want to see a player come to Chicago who's got a lot of potential and see them develop. And I think also it'll speak a lot to the trust that management has in the young team and their ability to develop into stars. And you're really handing the team over because, I mean, once Foligno retires, which I would imagine he's got 1 year left on his deal. So if he decides to retire or leave at the end of this year, I mean, now you shift to handing the team off to the younger players. And I think this is another thing where it really comes in handy to have another star, a young star, who can be mentored and also fit in well with the rest of the team as they progress. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at for the third overall pick. I don't think we should trade it unless you get a king's ransom. And let's hope Misa falls to number 3. We'll be keeping you updated on the draft, and let's hope for the best. Let's go Hawks.